Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of When Reality Hits. We're switching it up this time because reality is really hitting, and I have an amazing guest on who I have so many questions for. It is Dr. Jaime Zuckerman. Dr. Z, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks for coming on. I'm going to read a little bit about you just so that our listeners know exactly what you do and what you're about. So, Dr. Jaime Zuckerman is a licensed clinical psychologist, author, and nationally recognized expert in narcissistic abuse. She is a highly sought-after relationship coach for those experiencing narcissistic abuse in relationships of all types and is the owner of the Z Group, a private group therapy practice specializing in anxiety, depression, and complex relationship dynamics. Dr. Z is an influential social media personality in the mental health space and is a frequent media contributor. She has been featured in numerous print and digital platforms and appears regularly on both local and national TV segments and news programs. She is also the host of her own podcast, Next Up Narcissism, where she tackles the tough conversations around narcissistic relationships and mental health. Dr. Z is the author of 2 best-selling interactive workbooks, Find Your Calm, Focus on Managing Anxiety, and Find Good Habits. Geared towards daily goal setting and personal growth, her upcoming 3rd book, set to release in winter 2026, will offer readers behavioral strategies to navigate narcissistic abuse in their relationships and the tools necessary to leave safely and begin healing. That is amazing.
Thank you. I know. I'm listening. I'm like, when did I don't know when I do it.
Well, you did it all. I just wanted to read that so the listeners know exactly what you do, how qualified you are, all the amazing work that you do. I would like to go back to the beginning before we get into the juicy stuff. What got you started in this field?
Yeah. So many moons ago when I went into private practice, I saw mostly women, but a lot of people were coming in with anxiety, depression, stressful relationships, run-of-the-mill, everyday stuff. But what I started to notice was that some of these relationships were very, very similar, right? Mm-hmm. And there was a very distinct blueprint to them. And, you know, I say this a lot, ironically, when I was in graduate school, and I think many people in my cohort will agree with me on this, that at the time, we didn't really talk about narcissistic personality disorder. We did, but it was not really something that we went into. It was borderline personality disorder we talked about, but not narcissism. And so when I started working with these women, it became very clear that this is what was going on. And it was a very distinct blueprint, very specific kind of behavioral template. And it was something that really wasn't talked about. They were very alone. They didn't even know how to describe what was happening to them because it was so confusing. And I realized there was this need for people to learn how to navigate that and know that they're not alone.
Yes. I mean, I agree. I feel like it's talked about a lot more now, but I had never even heard that word years ago, you know. Do you know much about my story? Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. I feel like I've gone through, I'm going through a very public divorce and with someone who will say that he is a narcissist, like he has said that himself. So it's out there. It's been talked about. It's been very public. A lot of times people will write comments to me and say different things like they don't have sympathy for my situation because I should have seen the red flags. What are some red flags that you think people should be aware of?
Yeah. So before I even go into the red flags, I just want people listening to know that it sounds very easy to say, how did you not recognize them? How did you not know? Mm-hmm. But narcissists are master manipulators, and a lot of the red flags fly under the radar. You'd be surprised. And so you don't even know that it's happening. So it's very easy on the outside to say you should have seen it. Yeah. So red flags could be, it's not just falling for the person quickly. It feels like a tidal wave. The relationship is so quick and so extreme and so passionate and intimate. And it's not just connecting with someone. It's more than that. It's over the top. And the reason for that is because the more in the clouds you are, the less present you are with the reality of the situation. So it's kind of like they keep you just in this fog for so long, you don't even realize what's happening. So that is a very big red flag. When you initially start dating them, the degree of contact is extreme. So constant text messages, sending you flowers, taking you on vacations, but it doesn't even have to be anything lavish. They could, let's say you love hiking. They don't give a crap about hiking, but what they'll do is they will research it, or they'll, figure it out, or they'll take you hiking and make it like, oh, look, we have these things in common. So that doesn't seem extreme, but the purpose of it is very manipulative. So there's that. I would also say things like they slowly start to isolate you from family and friends, but it doesn't seem like that. It seems more like spending so much time together that you just, I haven't seen my friends in so long, or I haven't seen my family in so long. I haven't talked to anyone. So those are some other red flags that are things you want to look out for. And the hard part is it feels really good.
Yeah.
So when you're in this, it's really hard to not want to be in it.
A lot of this is love bombing.
Yes.
Right? Okay. I felt like that's something that a lot of people deal with. And I thought it was important to have you on because I've noticed while sharing my story so publicly, so many women have reached out to me about dealing with the same types of things and, trying to leave a situation and everything else. And I think a lot of people don't understand like love bombing and how like serious it could be, because you could fight with somebody really bad, and then 30 minutes later, it's like nothing ever happened.
That's right.
And then everything is just like perfect and good again. Right. And unless you're like in that type of situation, you don't really understand how it feels.
No. And the other thing too is, the whole point of love bombing is to make you feel vulnerable and make you feel like you can trust this person 100%. So another red flag would be if you find yourself talking about your deepest, darkest secrets that only your best friend knows, let's say, and you're sharing this on date number 1 or date number 2, that's a red flag. Even though it seems like it's a good thing, it's not. If they're saying, where have you been all my life? I've never met anyone like you. You're my soulmate. I've never felt this way before. I feel like I've known you in a previous life. We have our own language, all of those types of things. It's not that you're not lovely. It's not that people can't connect. But at that point, you don't even know their middle name. You know nothing about them. So what are you basing that on? So again, it feels good, but it's not good.
Yeah. And that's kind of crazy because you would be thinking about it like, wow, this person's really easy to talk to.
Yes.
And like connects with me, and I feel comfortable being able to share these like deepest, darkest secrets. And then I feel like a lot of times they're used against you.
I was just going to say that the whole reason for that, to keep you vulnerable and to give them your vulnerabilities and the things you're insecure about, because then later on in the relationship, that's what they use against you, because they know it's your weakness or your buttons that they like to push.
Yes. So you did a post on your Instagram, and her Instagram is Dr. Z _ psychologist. So you guys can check her out. 5 subtle things narcissists do early on to gain control of you. And number 1 was convince you to move in ASAP. And that is crazy because I moved from Kentucky to LA like 3 months in.
Yeah. Away from family and friends.
Yeah. It was very, very, very fast.
Yeah.
Number 2 was flirty talks of marriage and kids almost immediately.
Yeah.
3, quickly introduce you to their kids like you're a new family member. 4, people voice concerns, but the narcissist says that they're just jealous, which is crazy. 5, suggest you quit your job so they can take care of you.
Yeah. Yeah. And the purpose of all of those behaviors, on the surface, they all seem different, but the underlying function of all of them is exactly the same. It's all to gain control over you.
Goodness. I just feel like I didn't know very much about this. And you had said many times, like, people need to know the tools.
Yes.
Because they might not have realized it in the beginning. And then you're in a relationship for however many years, and then you're kind of stuck wondering how you can leave.
Yes.
Do you have tips for women or men? Because I'm sure it's not just women. It might mainly be women, but I know there has to be men that go through this as well.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it looks a little bit different, but there's definitely men that go through this as
well. Do you have tips for people to leave a relationship like this safely?
Yes. So in the beginning, when you are preparing to leave, I always tell people it's on average 7 times before you actually leave the relationship. So it's okay if you go back.
Wait, you think people try to leave like 7 times before they actually leave? Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because they don't have the skill set, or they're love bombed back into it, or they don't have any access to finances. They don't, the legal drama that happens is just too much for them, or they're getting threats of violence. I mean, there's so many reasons why people go back, right? So, from a safety standpoint, safety is the number one thing.
Yes.
But before you even leave, there's a lot of things you need to do behind the scenes so that when you leave, it makes it less likely for you to come back. And you never want to tell your partner that you're thinking about leaving. You do not say anything.
Okay.
Things like you want to contact an attorney. If there's children involved, make sure it's somebody that understands that, because if you leave, you want to make sure that they can't say you're abandoning the children and, or that you're taking their children from them. So there's that. You want to figure out where all your finances are, right? All your passwords, all your investments, because a lot of times there is a ton of financial abuse that's going on behind the scenes. There's credit cards taken out in people's names. There's tons of debt. So you really want to be very mindful where your finances are, which, we think we know. And then when you start digging, a lot of my clients, this happens, they start digging, and then it's this rabbit hole of things they never even knew were occurring.
Yes.
It's very common.
And a lot of people don't understand how a wife or a girlfriend wouldn't know those things beforehand. Absolutely.
And it's because they finances is a very big way to control you. So they make you think you're not capable, you're not smart enough, or, you're so bad with finances, I'll handle it. Or, you're so bad with money, let me take care of it. So a lawyer, you want to talk to a financial planner, or at least just know where your finances are. You want to make sure that you have money separate from your partner, whether that's a friend is holding it for you. You can safely open another account, set up another account, figure out what your name is on and what your name is not on. So make sure you have access to finances. Make sure you have at least one person who is a social support for you, who when you start doubting yourself, or maybe I overreacted, or maybe I'm being too dramatic, or what if they're different, or what if they're changing, that person's on the outside of the fishbowl, I like to say, and they can reach in and pull you back out.
Yes.
And if you have been disconnected from friends and family, which is very common, and you feel very isolated, and maybe all your friends are their friends, and they're threatening that you'll have no friends if you leave me, I promise you that your loved ones, you find the person you feel most comfortable with, they're going to be so happy that you came to them, because most of the time they've been waiting for this for a very long time.
Yeah. I was told many times that I didn't have any friends, and that, they wouldn't be there for me. They were just trying to use me for popularity or some kind of gain from the TV shows and different things like that. I was told that many times, but I was lucky enough that even though I met most of my friends through my ex, I made real friends.
Yes.
And they have my back, and they've really helped me. I'm so lucky that I have an LA family, because all my family's back in Kentucky, but I've always been so close to my family. Nothing was ever going to change that, but I did move all the way from Kentucky to LA. Yeah. So I was able to make real connections. And like you said, they love you and they will support you. And you can't listen and believe everything, because that can be, you start hearing the same things over and over and over. And sometimes it's easy to believe those things.
Absolutely. And because, you want to believe it. That's the thing, is you want so badly to believe it. You want to believe that this person can change. You want to believe that people are inherently good and all of these things. And so it's really difficult to accept that this person is A, aware that they're causing you harm, and B, has very little remorse or no remorse or accountability about it. So it's very hard to wrap your brain around that, because our brains just don't operate like that.
Yeah. And you're kind of blinded by the love in a way.
Yeah. And also, the way that narcissistic abuse works, it's called intermittent abuse, meaning it's like gambling. So it's similar to an addiction. You never know what you're going to get. You really have no control over when they're going to do it. It could be, you could make dinner for them one night and they love it, and then make them the same dinner the next night and they throw the plate against the wall and start berating you and you're terrible. And so you never know when you're going to get whatever the abuse is.
Yeah.
You never know. And so you're constantly hyper alert. You're constantly walking on eggshells. And when that happens over a prolonged period of time, and the gaslighting and making you doubt your decisions and your reality, your brain actually starts to change. So it's not even just, but I love them, or even, maybe they'll change. It's the brain chemistry has actually shifted for you. And so you're in this almost as if it's an addiction, and that's how you have to treat it.
Wow. Hey guys, as a parent, you want to empower your child to succeed now and in the future. Of course, we all want the best for our kids. K-12 can help your child reach their full potential and give you the support you need to get them there, which I absolutely love. K-12 powered schools are accredited tuition-free online public schools for students in kindergarten through 12th grade, designed with an engaging curriculum that supports individual learning styles. With K-12, learning is personalized and provides the flexibility your family needs. When school can be anywhere there's internet access, they can learn at their own pace and their own place, which is amazing. And K-12 powered schools have state-certified teachers specially trained in teaching online. They utilize hands-on, innovative technology to make learning interactive. K-12 powered schools even offer social opportunities, extracurricular activities, and in-person events. K-12 has more than 25 years experience helping students gain the skills they need to thrive in the future. Join the more than 3 million families who have chosen K-12 and empower your student to reach their full potential now. Go to k12.com/Brittany today to find a tuition-free K-12 powered school near you and enroll now. That's the letter K, the number 12.com/Brittany. K12.com/Brittany. Summer means vacations, outdoor adventures, and longer days, but also less time spent cooking healthy meals at home. If you're reaching for quick solutions that compromise your nutrition, Tempo has your back. With fresh, protein-rich meals ready in just 3 minutes, you can fuel your summer fun without sacrificing your health or valuable free time. Tempo, the official partner of the 2025 CrossFit Games, delivers fresh, chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals right to your door. Packed with protein, their delicious meals help keep you fueled and ready for your next workout. Tempo serves up fast, feel-good, single-serving meals that are crafted to cook in just 3 minutes, so you can eat well without sacrificing taste or convenience. With new recipes each week that are made with real ingredients and nutrient-rich, they make it easy to keep up a healthy lifestyle. Oh my gosh, I just had the barbecue chicken and roasted squash, and it was absolutely amazing. The fact that these meals can be ready in 3 minutes is so great for a busy mom like me, and it's also helping me keep on track, trying to get this summer body. I know it's summertime, but I'm trying to get it together and keep it going forever. So these meals are amazing. They taste delicious, 3 minutes to be ready, and they're beautiful. I love it. For a limited time, Tempo is offering my listeners 60% off your first box. That's amazing. Go to tempomills.com/realityhits. That's tempomills.com/realityhits for 60% off your first box. tempomills.com/realityhits. Rules and restrictions may apply. Yeah, I've, ever since I've been talking about this, you know how your phone, I feel like your phone listens to everything you say. And now all of a sudden, all over my Instagram and everything else, I see stuff like that all the time. And I have definitely seen other people talking about that, about how your brain, actually changes and it's kind of like you're battling an addiction. What are some things, for people that have left, for me, for instance, some, ways to begin healing?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's super important.
Yeah.
And I'm still healing myself.
It gets a little difficult, not difficult. It just gets a little bit more complex when there's a child involved, right? So, but putting that aside for a second, one of the most important things is that you have to set boundaries. And I know it sounds cliche, but you really need to set boundaries, but they have to be boundaries that match the purpose of the person's behavior. So for example, if they're texting you novels of just hate, right? Just ongoing, just brutally, psychologically, emotionally abusive text messages, rather than responding to the words and what they're actually saying on the surface, you have to ask yourself, okay, why at this very moment are they doing this right now? Is it my birthday? Do they know that I'm out? Do they know that I'm enjoying myself? What is the purpose of doing this right now at this moment? And it's always going to be control, manipulation of trying to get at your emotions. So
1 second. So that's common that if somebody's traveling or if somebody's doing something, that's whenever because that happens to me a lot. I'm not trying to, I want this to be broad because I want it to, talk about it because so many other women are going through this. But I've noticed that as a pattern. Like if I'm traveling or going to be on Watch What Happens Live or going to be on a TV show or anything like that, that's whenever weird stuff starts coming in.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's when emergencies happen. That's when they start berating you. That's when they tell you they love you. It doesn't have to be negative. It could be positive, but it's just trying to gain access again to your emotions when you need to be present for something else because they're not a part of it. So they need to make sure that they are. So when those types of messages come in or whatever behavior they're doing, you respond to the function of it, not what it looks like on the surface. So if it's control and power they're trying to gain over you, you don't respond.
That's something I'm not going to lie. That's something that has been hard for me. I've gotten a lot better at that now, especially within the past couple of months. But that was something that was hard because I'm such a people pleaser. I know that about myself. I'm very much hoping for the best in everybody and hoping that people can change and stuff like that. So I was letting messages and things soak into my day and ruin my day. I always call it that I was losing my sparkle and I'm trying to get my sparkle back.
That's exactly, but they know that.
Yeah.
That they don't want that because that means they're losing control over you.
And that's the worst feeling ever for somebody that's a narcissist, right?
Yeah. Losing control. It absolutely is. Because, the reason why a narcissist gravitates towards a particular person in a relationship, a lot of people have this misconception that they go for people who are weak, who don't have good self-esteem. And that's not true. It's the opposite. They go for people who are very loving and nurturing and confident and, that make them look good. They like the way they feel around that person. And so when a narcissist gravitates towards that, their whole purpose is exactly like you said, steal your sparkle. So they're not going to go for somebody with low self-esteem because there's nothing to take from them. They're of no use to them. So somebody who has all of that, the narcissist wants it and takes it. What we see at the end maybe is somebody with low self-esteem because of the abuse they've endured. But that's very common. And so, when you travel, when they know you have something big, so you want to, as much as you can, which I know for you is probably very difficult, to not share some of the things that you're doing. If right now it's difficult for you to set those, let's say, texting boundaries.
I have set way better boundaries recently, but it took me a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think a narcissist is actually capable of love?
No, I don't.
Okay.
They will, and I'm talking about someone with true narcissistic personality.
Yeah.
They will imitate love. They will act like they love somebody, but there's always going to be a purpose for why they're doing it. Either it makes them look good or they get something, or it makes the person feel comfortable with them. It kind of locks them into the relationship. But they're not capable of love the way that you and I are capable of loving somebody.
Okay. I feel the same. I mean, it's hard because you feel so sad trying to get out of a relationship whenever you still feel like you're in love with somebody.
Yes.
And then I feel like it's turned around on me a lot. Like I was the one who just threw it all away, threw the relationship away and things like that. But in reality, I was the one that was heartbroken, and I was the one that was like having to leave somebody I was still felt like I was in love with.
And your behaviors were very much a response, and a very normal response to abusive, psychological, emotional, financial infidelity, all of that. Your responses were completely appropriate.
Okay.
You were made to feel that they were not. And so the actions you took, which are very normal and healthy, right, to get out of the relationship, the lack of accountability on their part, it's very common. They're going to put that on you. Mm-hmm. You're not even going to give this another shot. You're throwing this all away, because they know that that's going to target that guilt and that shame for you. So they play into that rather than acknowledging all of the stuff that they've done, and your responses to them are completely appropriate.
Do you think a narcissist can change?
No.
Like at all?
No.
Even with therapy and work and different things?
Yeah. So here's why. And I always preface this because I get asked this a lot. As a psychologist, in my heart, and this is why I do it, and in my gut, everybody can change, right? Everybody can do the hard work and change. So for me to say that somebody can't change is really difficult for me, but they can't change. The most you can hope for is maybe a small sliver of shift of behavior in a session with a therapist, but it doesn't translate outside, and they don't go to therapy because they're totally fine how they are. It's everybody else's problem. And it's why I really strongly advise against couples therapy with a narcissist. You never want to go that route. So no.
I always felt like couples therapy was not at all. I felt like it would make me more angry.
Yes.
Leaving or being in that situation, because I feel like every time it would be turned all on me. That's
right. And the danger is if you get a therapist who, let's say, doesn't acknowledge or doesn't see that there's somebody in the relationship that's a narcissist, it's very easy for the narcissist to charm the therapist, to make you look like you're not communicating, and they make it a communication issue. And they'll tell you to go on date night. So now you look bad if you go on date night or you refuse to go on date night, but you don't want to go on date night because it ends up in this blowout argument. So the other thing is you're not going to maybe voice what's really going on because you need to drive home with this person, and being in a car with an angry narcissist is not where you want to be
at all.
You need to put your head on the pillow at night with them, and they'll keep you up for all hours screaming at you. So you're not even going to feel safe saying anything.
Wow. I mean, I got to talk to you off the podcast because there's just so much that I could say. So knowing what you know about my relationship, what kind of advice would you have for me? Or how do you think I've handled things? I just want to hear what you think as being someone who, knows so much about this.
I think that the lack of accountability is glaring. And the effort to make the situation not look as bad as it is very apparent as well. Yeah. And so for you, the social support you have, and I say this for anything, social support is the best predictor of success in anything, even more than therapy, even more than anything. So that social support is huge for you because they have an objective view of what's going on. And if you start to slip back into old patterns, they're going to, Brittany, nope.
Hold me accountable for sure. I always say that being on the show helped me so much actually, hold myself accountable and really see everything for what it was.
Yep. I think the big thing is because at some point this will happen, you will engage in a conversation with him, whether it's text, whether it's in person, it doesn't matter. At some point it's going to happen. And you want to make sure that you don't respond to the words that he's saying, the accusations that he's making. You have to remember that what he's saying has a deliberate function, and it's to get access to your emotions. So your response needs to be very neutral. Okay. That doesn't mean that neutral isn't rolling your eyes. Neutral isn't, telling them, leave me alone, walk away. Neutral is literally, I'm not going to give you anything. I am a blank slate, because then they have nothing to kind of sink into and you become boring.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You don't give them anything. So you want to become as boring as possible.
Because it is definitely hard, I'm sure, for other people out there not to get angry and want to like go off whatever somebody. Yeah.
Yeah. And you will. And I tell people when that comes up for you, because you have to remember that's a completely normal human emotion to what is being thrown at you. You feel nothing you're feeling is wrong. Nothing. And so you feel that. Feel it all you want. What I think the issue becomes is when we respond out of anger rather than respond with what is consistent with our boundaries and our values.
Right. Because then it just kind of
respond out of anger.
Right. And that just is, it's so frustrating. Like so frustrating, because it's like, why do I deserve that? You know?
You don't.
And it's definitely been a journey. What about co-parenting with someone who's a narcissist? And I just mean this for everyone.
Co-parenting with a narcissist is very difficult. It is very tricky. There's a lot of things that need to be done before anything kind of gets set in place. Narcissists don't co-parent. They counter-parent. They don't parallel, they counter-parent.
What exactly does that mean?
So counter-parenting is if I say to you, I need to take my daughter to the orthodontist because they have to get braces. Counter-parenting is going to be, I'm not agreeing to that. She doesn't need braces. I'm not paying for it. She's not getting it. You need my consent too because she's a minor. So it ends up where they use the child as a pawn to get back at and punish the healthy parent. And if you think about it, what's, finances, right? Legal stuff. So legal abuse, financial abuse, emotional and psychological they'll start to lose control over that. And that's already happening, right? But they always go after the one thing you will fight most passionately for, and that's your children.
Yes. No matter what, always. Yeah.
So they will counter-parent, use the children as pawns to punish you. So you need to go in knowing that that's going to most likely happen, and understand that all you need, and research shows this, is one stable, healthy parent to raise a healthy child. Just one. You will be the constant. You'll be the one that's structured. But that also means you're going to get the brunt of it, because when they come home from the narcissistic parent's house, they're completely dysregulated. So it takes 24 hours to calm them down and make them feel safe again. So the healthy parent, unfortunately, gets the brunt of it, but you also have way more control over that child's development than they do.
Yeah. Gosh. Oh, goodness. It's just crazy that so many people have something in common like this. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just me going through something like this. Like, there are just so many people, and so many of the characteristics and everything are exactly the same. Life's been crazy lately. And one thing that helps me unwind, Cornbread Hemp's CBD gummies. I am not a good sleeper. With everything going on in my head every single night, I'm an overthinker. It's not easy for me to go to sleep. So CBD gummies have helped me so much feel relaxed and be able to get that peaceful rest that I really need. Cornbread Hemp's CBD gummies are made to help you feel better, whether it's stress, discomfort, or just needing a little relaxation. Cornbread Hemp uses only the best part of the hemp plant, the flower, for the purest and most potent CBD. No fillers, no junk, just full spectrum goodness. All products are third-party lab tested and USDA organic to ensure safety and purity. Right now, When Reality Hits listeners can save 30% on their first order. Just head to cornbreadhemp.com/reality and use code reality at checkout. That's cornbreadhemp.com/reality and use code reality at checkout.
Guys, what is up? My name's Tom Schwartz. Some of you might know me from Vanderpump Rules. We had 11 wonderful, beautiful, strange seasons together. You've seen me at some of my worst, and now I want to show you some of my best. Welcome to my new show, Detox Retox, on Podcast One. So what are we doing here? Well, we're striving for balance in an ever-extreme world. Each week we celebrate the dance between indulgence and moderation, and I want to level up together, and I don't want to feel bad about feeling good. It's all about harmony, okay? Through conversations and travels, friends, your favorite reality stars, internet personalities, experts, amateurs, metaphysics to mezcal, highly experiential. It's going to be a nice blend of practical and fantastical. It's not woo-woo if it works. So we're going to open up our minds with fascinating humans from all walks of life. You're a little reminder that it's never too late to start fresh and find harmony. New episodes of Detox Retox with me, Tom Schwartz, drop every Tuesday. Come vibe with us and remember to rate, review, and follow wherever you get your podcasts.
That's the one thing about this that I still to this day can't grasp, because let's say for anxiety, the way I manifest anxiety is going to be different than how you manifest anxiety. Just same with depression, right? But with narcissistic personality disorder, it doesn't matter who you are, where you live. It's exactly the same. It's the same blueprint. Mm-hmm. The behaviors may be dressed up a little differently, but it's the same exact blueprint.
And are there different levels, I'm assuming?
So so some people say narcissism exists on a continuum, mm-hmm. but you have to be careful with that, because let's say, for example, that, if you're, let's say you're a professional athlete, you excel really, in a certain sport. During that time, your narcissistic traits, let's say, may be louder in that period of time than when you're not playing that sport. The difference is that you know that, and then you regulate it and you reel it back in. Whereas with a narcissist, they're a narcissist 100% of the time. They are not just like this with certain people. Even though behind closed doors, they'll be more abusive, their facade they put on outside, the charming and all of that, that's still part of being a narcissist. So it's they're like that all the time. It's not, it doesn't change or shift.
I know that you talk a lot about anxiety. I have definitely, I've gotten much more anxiety than I've ever had in my life. I think it's just because everything I've gone through, and sometimes I'm even scared to go out and talk to people, and that's not my personality at all. What are some things that I could do to kind of regulate whenever I'm feeling that way?
Yeah. So when you're coming out of or still in a traumatic situation, because this is traumatic, it changes your brain chemistry, it changes your outlook on things, and, it changes your relationships. It really is a traumatic kind of, let's say, chronic trauma, right? We call it CPTSD. So it's this continuous slow drip type of trauma. The first thing you want to do is you need to start to regulate your nervous system. Before you do anything else, as far as processing what happened and looking at patterns and all that stuff, your nervous system is so dysregulated from being in fight or flight mode, constantly being on edge and hypervigilant. Your cortisol levels are through the roof, right? Which regulates everything in our body, our physical health, our, mental well-being, everything. So it's so important to regulate that first. And you do that through, certain breathing exercises, certain mindfulness exercises, grounding techniques, just to really get you to be present, focus on your breathing, focus on your ability to just stay in the moment rather than constantly worrying, escaping the present moment. It's super important to do that before you even do anything else.
Okay. That's good advice. I don't know. I've never been like that. I'm very much a people person, but I could tell sometimes I would just rather stay at home.
That's too overwhelming. Because if you think, you're at max capacity with that, to have to go out and talk about things or just engage with people, it's so overwhelming because you're so filled up with all this other stuff that it's too much.
I had a lot of that last summer. It was different things were going on in my friend groups and everything. And, I was accused of not really being there or like trying to get in the middle of their arguments and fighting and stuff. And I was trying to explain, like, I don't have the capacity to take on all the drama right now. I just don't. And I don't want to be a bad friend. I don't want to be anything like that. But sometimes you just feel like you just can't because you're going to explode.
That's right. That's right. And that's hard for somebody who's a people pleaser, right? Because then when you can't take in anything else, then that's the guilt and the shame, which brings even more on you.
I'll stay up all night, like thinking about it, thinking somebody's upset with me or mad at me. It's just who I am.
Yes. So you need to decompress that first so that you can even take in anything in therapy, right? We have to bring all of that down and regulate everything, heart rate, blood pressure, all of that, just so that you can, your memory is shot. All of these things get affected. And so you really need to stabilize that first and regulate it.
Okay. I cannot wait to talk to you one-on-one. I've got to, because you're just like hitting the nail on the head. Is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
On so many things.
You're not alone. You're not alone. I know it feels like for a lot of people, but you're really not.
Do you have any questions for me before I let you go?
Yeah, I guess one thing that I ask my clients a lot, just not so much out of curiosity, but just to see kind of where their mindset is. But but how will you feel, and what if he never changes and maybe at times even gets worse?
How will I feel?
I always tell people, how will you approach that? Because, and it's a loaded question, nothing to, to actually know, but because the reality of the situation is they will not change. Yeah. And I think it's important to ask yourself that question to really grasp it. What does it mean for me if this never changes?
I think I'm in a lot better place with that than I was last summer. Like this summer, it's been over a year since it's almost been an entire year since I filed for divorce, but it's been far over a year since I separated. So I do feel like I'm in a better place. Like, I'm not going to lie. There was times whenever I was like, who's he with? What's he doing? That was like very hard for me to take in. And it's almost like time has healed me a little bit, where I don't care about that stuff. I don't focus on that stuff. I'm like, your problem now. Why should I worry about that? I'm in a much better place. I deserve better. I finally understand that about myself. And I still have a lot of healing to do, but I think that I don't expect to change.
Good.
There are other things that I definitely think have been working on, that he's been working on, like sobriety and things like that. Like, I support that. That's great. But I know the personality things aren't always going to change, and I don't expect them to. I think I have gained so much strength going through all of this, and my son especially. I know a lot of people are like, you stay together for your kids. You stay together for your kids. It opened my eyes when I had a kid. Because I was like, he needs a happy mom.
Yes. Not only that, but you also, and listen, I get it. People, they want to stay for the kids. They think that's the right thing to do. What it does do, though, is not only does it deprive them of a happy, healthy parent, but it also models for them that this type of behavior is acceptable. And you don't want them to either think it's okay to be on the receiving end of it, and you just certainly don't want them to be, the ones that are doing the abuse. So it's important for a lot of reasons why you don't stay. But the reason why I ask that is because, the hardest part is being able to separate from the patterns and look at the patterns almost like you're watching it on TV. You're watching it at a distance, and you can see these patterns. You can predict them ahead of time. They're not going to change. When you're in that mindset, it puts you in such a better place to heal, because you're not tangled up in it anymore.
Okay, yeah. And I think that's where the show has helped me. I have a different, I get to watch myself and learn from my mistakes and see the red flags and see things that I didn't notice before. Yeah. So I'm truly blessed in that way. But I hope that this helped a lot of people listening. Like I said, so many women have reached out to me. I've had women, whenever I do live shows and stuff, come up to me and cry to me and say that me being so open about what I'm going through has helped them like leave their own situation or realize that they need to or that they're trying to. People write me stories all the time in my DMs, and I appreciate it so much because it keeps me going and keeps me strong too, you know?
I always tell survivor stories are one of the most important elements in healing because it makes you feel connected. It validates you. It makes you realize you're not alone. But yes, you talking about this and sharing it, it is helping so many people, men and women, you know, just by sharing it and not being embarrassed or shameful to talk about it and really putting it out there and helping people and showing them that you can leave.
That's why it makes it all worth it, because those people that come up to me and say that to me, it's like, yeah, it can be very embarrassing going through all of this on national TV, but knowing that I'm helping other people, like that like means the absolute world to me. It really does. And it helps keep me strong and helps me keep going in my journey and trying to be a better person. And like I said, I feel like I'm getting my sparkle back. I still have some healing to do. It's not going to be easy, you know, to deal with things for the rest of my life, but I'm going to do my best.
It's a journey and it's an ongoing process. And, you know, there's no necessary endpoint, but you will hit a point where you're able to, and for people listening who are not even close to this point, I know this is going to sound bizarre, but I promise you will get to a point where you look at their behavior and you laugh at it.
Yeah.
You actually laugh at it and you say, really?
I'm starting to get to that a little bit. I really am. Because I'm seeing everything for what it is. Like the shield has lifted. The blinders are gone.
Yes.
And I just, you know.
You can't unsee it.
Yeah.
Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Yeah. That's it. And so it's a very empowering feeling for people. So if, you know, for people listening who aren't there yet, I promise you will get to that point.
Yeah. You'll see it too.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't have to deal with this, you are very lucky. You are very lucky. Okay. One last question before I let you go. After being through all of this stuff so publicly and everything that you've seen about my life, what kind of man do you see me being with? Like, what do you think I should look for?
I think you should look for somebody that I don't mean it in this way, but you want to look for someone who feels boring.
Really?
Not because they are boring, but because they lack the emotional chaos and the roller coaster that you're used to.
Right.
And so it's important to look for somebody who almost feels boring.
Because I'm so used to being in a toxic relationship. So if somebody else without all the drama might not seem as, but then that's the person that would like actually love me and be like good to me forever. Or, you know. Yeah, I mean, you want stability. You want to be able to, to know what you're going to get, to know what behaviors cause what emotions, and that it's not this guessing game or it's not your fault. And, you know, it's open and there's dialogue and there's accountability on both parts. What would that feel like? I mean, amazing.
Right? Yeah. And it'll be scary. It'll definitely be scary. But I tell people kind of look for, because a lot of people will misinterpret stability with boring when they first get out of these types of relationships.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for all the advice that you've given me today. I definitely want to talk with you more. Tell everybody again, I know we mentioned all your books and your Instagram and stuff, but if you can name them again to where people can look for you and find you.
Yeah, sure. So I'm on Instagram, Dr. Z_psychologist, Dr. Zuckerman on TikTok. And my website's drjaimezuckerman.com. And on there, there's access to links to my books, Find Your Calm, Find Good Habits. And I have virtual courses and workshops on there that you can download as well.
Amazing.
And my podcast, sorry. Next up, Narcissism.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for coming on. You are amazing. And I can't wait to talk to you more.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to When Reality Hits. We will see you next week. Love y'all.
Just when you thought summer couldn't get any hotter, Pluto TV is turning up the heat with thousands of free movies. Presenting Summer of Cinema. Stream your favorite blockbuster films like Gladiator.
I will have my vengeance.
Good Burger.
This is what I call fast food.
Beverly Hills Cop. The Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. And Julie and Julia.
Bon appetit.
All for free on your favorite devices. Pluto TV. Stream now. Pay never.